Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Divine Brothers podcast meeting yet again. Pretty rough week all around, man. Austin, you were a sick man, huh?
Yeah, one of the worst flus I've had in a long time. Just there's this solid like 8 hours where I was laying in bed and just a fever dream. It was terrible. I was having dreams. I was getting hit by vehicles on the street.
Oh man, even your dreams are coming after you. That's brutal.
Yeah.
The delirious sickness. Yeah, that's awful, man. Uh I had my own little episode. Uh I injured myself a couple weeks ago in the gym, fucked up my back, but it was one of those things where just had to lay up for a while and it slowly got better, but the pain moved from my back to like the front, like my lower right hand side around my groin and crawling up the side of my stomach. And it just never went away. It was constant. Just this happened, that injury happened like a month ago. And like this past week, the pain was just getting crazy. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't tie my shoes. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I go to the Chinese doctor just because I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? And man, I tell you what, I have a new respect for Chinese medicine. Because that bitch, she flipped me over on my side, started feeling around in my stomach, got out some needles and shit, and poked me. Like, I mean, she put about 50 needles into my stomach, big long ones too. You know,
Acupuncture. This is the acupuncture.
this is the acupuncture. Yeah. And anyway, she started pulling around. She's like, "Your spleen is fucked." And I was like, "What? Spleen? I don't even know what the spleen does really." And she was like, "I'm feeling around. I'm looking at your chi." And she's like, totally out of whack around the spleen." And I was like, "Okay, bitch, whatever." And I go out, but the pain's still around. I go to the Western doctor because I'm like, okay, I think this Chinese bitch is crazy. And he's like, there's something going on. And they take a ultrasound. They're big on ultrasounds here and they go around. Turns out my spleen is being choked out by a ligament. Like I had somehow like messed up the ligaments around my groin area and it had tied itself around my spleen. And it was like literally choking my spleen to death, you know? And so they're like, we got to do a surgery, you know? And I'm like, what? A surgery? And I don't want to do surgery because in China, they don't believe in anesthetic. They just, what they do is they stick a needle in your spine and they numb you from wherever they're going to do the surgery down. So I've had surgery here and you're just awake through the whole fucking thing, you know? So
Uh,
I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do surgery again. I go back to the Chinese lady, you know, and she puts me, Chase, I'll send you the video, man. It's crazy. She puts again 50 needles in my stomach and starts putting incense, like burning like these Chinese scrolls and shit, and puts the burning scrolls on my stomach. And she's like, we got to draw out the bad energy and stuff. And then she did one of the craziest massages of my life with needles sticking out of me, totally like just pew, pew, pew. It was like a kung fu movie. She was like doing like pew, 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 going all around and stuff like that. And I was fucking cured. I was fucking cured. The pain went away. It was gone. And I still got like a little dull pain. She's like, that'll last for like 2 weeks. But it's just, I couldn't believe it. They wanted to cut me up, man. I thought I was gonna have to go in for a surgery, and that bitch did some voodoo Chinese stuff, and I got better.
so you're
It's I really I think it's a miracle. I
you're
really do.
you're a believer.
Um, yes, I am.
Can,
I liked that hospital, man. She was cool. She spent time with me. She explained everything she did. She didn't try to sell
in
me on shit.
English, in English, or is it all translated?
All in Chinese. Wu Yin was there the whole time. I can understand like half of what she was saying, but the concepts are so fucking weird. She kept asking me like, is your lower back cold?" It's like, what? Cold? I don't know what you're talking about. They're big on like hot and cold, and she asking energy questions and all kinds of shit. I didn't understand any of it, but Wu Yan did his best to translate. But yeah, I'm a believer, man. I think
Wow.
I think the acupuncture was something, you know.
This is a touch side topic, but I'm just thinking about it. There's no anesthesia in that country. So that's terrifying prospect going into surgery. This is if you have open heart surgery, are you saying that they don't put you under?
No, they have anesthesia. They just don't use it if they don't have to.
Okay.
Right. So, for example, I had to have a surgery like on my butt many years ago, you
Yeah.
know,
I wonder why.
and they stuck a needle like into my spine, and they I was paralyzed from the waist down. And I was just there while they did the whole surgery. I was there for like 3 hours, just totally aware, totally awake. And I was like, "Can't you knock me out?" And they're like, "We never knock people out unless it is absolutely necessary." They believe
And
it's bad.
oh, they think it's bad for you. No, they don't. They're afraid they're going to get addicted like the Americans. That's what they think.
They don't give any drugs of any kind. After the butt surgery, I was like, "Can I get some Vicodin or some hydrocodone or something?" They're like, "We're gonna give you prescription Tylenol,
Going to
so
give
you
you
just
some tough
fucking suck it
love.
up."
You need to suck it up, American, and stop asking for
They
pills.
they never give drugs, no matter what. So, anyways, crazy week, man.
Dude,
Crazy
that's
fucking.
well, that's super cool. I've always like if I went to China, I think I would want to make it a point, and I wouldn't want it to be in a hospital. I want it to be down like an alley and like some old
It
man
sounds
with
dope.
ancient things on the wall. Like I want that kind of examination.
That's
And
what I thought too. That's illegal. You cannot get
if
acupuncture
it's
at a
illegal,
massage.
it's even better. If he's down the hallway, like and if he's illegal,
Oh
that's
man.
icing on the cake. That'd be fantastic.
I thought exactly like you, but you have to go to a special Chinese medicine hospital. They're all over the place. And I go to the, so I went to the Chinese medicine hospital. Dude, it was totally fucking legit. Like that girl, she was like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for 40 fucking years." And the other thing, it made me totally racist against blind people because in China, Austin, all the massages are done by blind people. So I think they got some kind of sixth sense. Bullshit. The people at the Chinese hospital who can see everything 2020, they're way better than the blind people. They are. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing. They know like all the weird chakra points and all that sort of shit. And I'll never go back to the blind people, man. I'm going to go to the Chinese hospital. And you know what the other thing was? It was fucking cheap. Fucking cheap. That lady, I gave her for I went in for a week of treatments, man. She was doing all kinds of shit. Cost me 300 kwai, which is like, I don't know, $50. $50. Didn't try to sell me on anything. She was like, "Come back. We won't charge you. We just want to check on you, make sure you're all right." I was just like, "Fuck, this is how it should be, man." I really appreciate it. It was a good experience.
How long have you been healed for? Was it, is and
I've
is
been
this experience is this Christ-like? Is this like Jesus laid his hands upon you and now you're like back to normal?
No, there was nothing spiritual about it. I felt
Not
like she
not, but
was
you're
doing
healed.
shit.
You're healed. You're healed
I
100%.
still have some pain, but man, I couldn't tie my shoes. I couldn't bend over. It was pain. I was like walking around like a hobbled old man, and it was constant. Couldn't sleep at night. It was, I'm sure you've had back pain, right? Did you ever have it where it never went away? It was just there always. It was just like a friend just there annoying you at all times. Yeah,
Like 2 years
that's what it
straight.
was,
Yeah.
dude. It was crippling. Absolutely. I was like, I got to do something about this shit, you know? So it was a real old man moment, but I'm glad I got healed.
Well, I want to go to a Chinese doctor. Wouldn't that be fascinating if they had just a Chinese hospital somewhere in every American city, like a real one? I would totally go.
Uh, there's you can in Chinatown, you can definitely
Yeah,
find some
I
shit,
bet.
you
No,
know.
you know what? I should Google. There's probably one out on this island. I need to go check him, her. I should do that. But they
I
probably charge American prices here. That's the shitty
dude,
part.
I remember one it was a weird moment. It was right after I got back from Vietnam. So I had trained myself to get into Asian guys, you know, like while I was living with Chase in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I get back to Dallas and I get on Grinder and I meet a Chinese guy, you know, and he took me to Dallas, Chinatown. I had no idea this place exists. It's just like a few miles away from mom, you know. It was everything was in Chinese and Korean and Vietnamese, you know. And you know what? They had a little Chinese herb shop. They had a Korean bathhouse. They had all kinds of hot pot and Korean places and all that shit. I was the only white person within a 1 kilometer radius, but it was all there. And I just had no idea because I didn't know any Asian people, you know?
And man, Asia's got some perks to their cultures. It's just a lot easier to live in an Asian culture sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. The needles were weird though, man. Like they were like, it's not gonna hurt. Bullshit. It definitely hurt. There were certain parts that they
Did
had
you
very
did
big needles, you know.
did you tell her that it I there was a so I went and got this beard thing done in Thailand and
Mm-mm.
the doctor, he used to live in Hawaii. So I mean, we're cool. We're talking some lingo and his bedside manner kind of sucked though. Because he would do
Yeah.
something and go, this will hurt a lot. And I was like, what? And then just da, 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 da. And I was like, dude, it hurt, but it didn't hurt that much. But the fact that he phrased it in a way like, hey, some pain's coming in, brother. If he would have been like, this might hurt a little bit, or it was not the proper response. It caught me off guard and it made
I
it
don't know. With pain, don't you probably want honesty? Like if it's really gonna fucking hurt, wouldn't you rather somebody say, listen, you gotta prepare yourself,
so
you
the,
know?
the nurse before, she's like, look, I'm going to take this piece of ice and I'm going to rub it and it's going to cause the skin to go numb. That's why I'm doing this. And then you'll feel like she was super accurate with what was expected. He was not. He gave
Mm.
me oh, this is going to feel like you're getting shot. And it didn't feel like I was getting shot anymore, but you freaked me out. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that. These bitches were so there's the language barrier, right?
Put
You
it to me
know,
gently.
and
Put it to me gently. Yeah. I like a bedside
the
manner with a
weird thing
doctor.
is, you know what fucking hurt though? The stomach didn't hurt. What hurt was when they did the hands, sticking needles in your hands, you know? Like, oh my God, that was awful. So like there's like 10 needles in my hand, like in the fingertips and shit like that. And I have to like hold it while there's fucking incense burning over my body and shit like that. And it was fucking like just oof.
What about your feet? If they put them in your hands, they put them in your
That's
feet.
the first place they do it. The
So
feet
it's the hands
first.
and feet. Why? Because everything runs through those and the blood flow or something like that? I don't know.
I did not get any education in any of the shit they were doing. And Wu Yin doesn't know anything about it either. Like he's just like, I don't know anything about this, man. Like I know some chi shit, but it all has to do with like there's certain forces, like internal, like hot, cold, earth, wind, that sort of shit. And it all sounds like hippie bullshit, but I didn't have to do a surgery and I don't have pain. So something went right, you know?
They put them in your head too, on your head.
No,
Okay,
they
it's
do though.
just the hands and feet for you.
And stomach,
Hmm.
right into the stomach, like the
Interesting.
area that was having the issues, you know what I mean? And I will say this, every time they did the treatment, I would go in there holding my side, like hobbled in, they would do the needles and there would be no pain when I was done. None. Gone. Just totally gone. And like I talked to Vic about this. He did the fucking needles. Remember that with his tinnitus? He said it was the only thing that helped him.
Yeah, he ain't going to a Chinese doctor
No, I guess not.
though. Yeah,
Anyways, experience.
yeah. Austin, you didn't say much. You think that's all hoopla, juju, bullshit? You're muted, dude.
Ah, fuck. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Sorry, the
Oh, there we go.
hello power thing, it switched over. No, it's not that I don't believe it necessarily. I've just never experienced it. When I think of Chinese medicine, I think of like ginseng. Like you're gonna go in there and just give you a big ginseng root to chew on. I don't know a lot about it. I know like the hot and cold thing, like there's hot herbs and cold herbs, and sometimes when you're taking herbs, it'll say on the side what kind of like what side it's on. But yeah, I don't know. It's a anything to counter Western medicine. I really do hope there's a alternative to what they do over here, cutting people open and giving them very pure isolated chemicals that get a lot of people addicted to what they get.
Well, that surgery I had on my ass, dude, I wish I never did that. It was such a fucking mistake. I really, really wish I hadn't cut myself open. You know, I don't know. I just feel like you lose something every time you get cut. You're never quite the same.
Especially your butt getting cut. Yeah, that's not good.
Oh yeah, that was rough, man. And that was like a 6 month process.
You
Really
know,
rough.
My first real Chinese experience in my life, I was 19 in Huntsville, Alabama, delivering Chinese food. This was before GPSs. It's the job I got. It was kind of a cool job, but it was a legitimate little Chinese family that ran it. And that mom that ran it was so direct. She was never nice to me. Like, you the slowest one. You are the last. You are the last on deliveries. Like every day, she's just telling me this. And like her young son, who's like 13, was like, "Yeah, she says you need to pick it up." I'm like, I can like you could tell they were yelling at you. Like they point at you and like yell, but they would say it in Chinese, and then he would interpret. He's like, "Oh, you need to go faster." I was like, "Man, hey, intense, man, intense." I thought it was funny, but they would come at you, man, fearless. They didn't give a shit. They're like, "You need to step it
It's
up."
funny because I feel like there's a big difference between American Chinese and the Chinese Chinese because I never see yelling here ever. But
Not
the best part about that
talking
job,
loud, talking very loud, and making it obvious they're talking. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
sort
like
of
that.
thing.
Yes, yes, you nailed it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The best part of that job, Chase, the one thing I remember, and this made me laugh really hard, is that Chase openly admitted, if he was a little hungry, he'd open up the box and grab a piece of orange chicken,
Just like
have
one,
some.
just one out of
Bullshit in the tourists.
if
You're like, let's see what they got in here. They're not gonna notice one guy.
if you got six deliveries, you can take one out of each one. That's nothing. They never
Oh
notice.
my god. Oh
Right.
my god, that's so awful. The it
Yeah.
makes me wonder about the door dashing people, like how often they're taking a bite.
First off, I've counseled three DoorDash people in my life, like side project. I always ask them that question every single time. Two of them said
And
yes. The girl said
uh,
no. Yeah,
and of course the girl said no.
she
Yeah.
said no. Yeah.
If you're hungry, maybe you don't have time to eat, something like that.
You
The
take a
smell,
fry. You take a
smell
fry. Yeah, there's nothing
fry,
wrong with that.
fry. Who's gonna
Just
take a fry?
one. Yeah.
But you know what? So you know what they do in China? I don't know if they do this in America, but they staple the bags, you know, like so you can't open them, you know, like until it's time. You got to do the, rip them open and stuff. So none of the Meituan guys, and that's our DoorDash. They don't have that option. They don't have that option at all. But
I got a
maybe in
little
America.
rivalry. There's a family that owns a Chinese restaurant called China Sun off of Bailey Cove. It's like right in front of the old Grissom building. And one day I ordered what always order, General Tso's with fried rice. And this kid, he typed it in wrong. He gave me Kung Pao chicken. And ever
Son of
since
a
then,
bitch.
he blamed it on me. He blamed it
He
on me.
blamed you.
Yeah, yeah. I went back
What?
in. I go, hey, it's not my order. And he goes back, and of course, the parents are there. It's a family business. They're yelling at him. He goes, he ordered this. He ordered this. And I'm looking at him. You lying SOB. This is how they.
Wow.
And ever since then, man, every time I go in there, he walks up to the counter and he goes, "Oh, it's you."
You.
And he's looking at me.
Yeah.
And and one day I ordered something else, and he looks at me in the eyes. He goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "Yeah, I'm fucking sure, buddy."
Whoa. Are you sure, man? He wants to start something.
I mean,
Yeah.
this man's handing you your food. Are you okay with this? Yeah, you better be careful there, brother.
He's
Dude.
not sure.
I,
Like, yeah, I want to try the orange chicken today. Like, look, man, I know I get the same thing every day. I know you misunderstood me one day, or you lied. I don't know what you did there, but
Let me
I want
tell
to
you,
try
man.
orange chicken today. Okay.
I worked in many restaurants in my life, and the shit I saw kitchen people, ratchet kitchen people do to food when they were a little angry, just you don't want to know, man. You do not want to know the bodily fluids that were
So,
sometimes smeared on your burger.
oh my
You
God.
know, I saw it many times. Many, never, ever send your food back. Ever. That's why I always like mom and some of our other relatives, they would they'd get pissy at restaurants. They'd have little episodes, man. And I was like, what
They
are you doing?
they really
What
think
are you
that
doing?
person's gonna take it back there. I'm like, I need to do better. Let me try this again. Like,
Oh my
no
God.
cook is thinking that way, man. Yeah.
No. Dude, I can remember like I remember there was this one time where it wasn't mom, it was another relative called the manager over, you know, and I still remember what it was. It was there's too many croutons in this salad. That's what it was. There's too many croutons in this salad. I think I was 10, 11, something like that. And the waiter, I can still remember the face of just dumbfounded, like, I'm in this situation and I can't get out, you know? And the manager came and she submitted so perfectly to my relative. Like, yes, ma'am, I'm so sorry. Of course, this is gratis. Like, don't worry. We're going to give you a complimentary glass of wine. Please, anything you need. We are happy to meet your demands, you know? And I had this moment of like realizing the power of a rich white woman, you know? And how there are few things as terrifying as the wrath of an angry, half drunk white woman,
Well,
you know?
it's a privileged rich woman that's been in that
Oh, yeah.
lifestyle for so long. I mean, they could be
Hmm.
any color, but a woman, entitled rich woman, is probably your worst nightmare in any situation. It's awful. They'll threaten to ruin your life. Yeah,
Yeah, they will threaten to ruin your life, you know?
absolutely.
Do you know what I can do to you? Hmm?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I guess
Well,
people love that power.
Dean, I'd like to hear more about these bodily fluids. I will say at Domain, I've never seen anything like that. Uh, we're pretty good. Like, and me working, I never did that to anyone's food. I was always very careful. It could be an old person, it could be a child. Like, you don't want to really, in my opinion, you got to be a fucking a jerk to do that. But I do remember one day working at Hardee's, and I put mayonnaise on both sides of a hamburger, and the lady comes bursting in like I had just stabbed her child, just ranting like a lunatic, demanding a new hamburger. And she's got the receipt. She goes, look, it says it on the receipt. Look. And of course, I'm the only one in the back, and she goes, "Oh, you're the one who did this, aren't you?" And it was like it's such a horrible encounter. But even then, I didn't. I remade the sandwich, and there's no temptation. Like I'm gonna spit in this lady's food. It really wasn't. What am I
Well,
gonna do?
well, what if
That's
it
a
was
weird.
more egregious? What if it was like insulting your humanity or dignity or something like that?
What's it gonna do? I mean,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
it's a
Hypothetically.
weird way to get back at somebody. I would do something else. I would not spit in someone's food. It
I
doesn't.
gotta tell you, man. Like the idea of like Austin at 2 a.m. in the morning, like alone at a Hardee's reading Schopenhauer, you know, and then a bitch comes in screaming at him about mayonnaise on her burger. Like that, there's something just beautiful about that moment. Something tragic too. I like it. I really like it,
That
man.
brings like
Yeah,
a tear to my eye, man. Yeah.
It does.
no, it hurt my feelings because I tried to do a good job, and she came in and she was a bitch, man. But she was right because she opened that burger up in front of everybody, and she said, "Look, there's," she goes,
Look at
"There's,
it. Look
there's," she goes, "Look,
at
there's
it.
mayonnaise on both sides,"
She
and
made
sure
you witness
enough,
your crimes,
What?
man. Like
Okay.
she wanted to publicly humiliate you.
she did.
Jesus.
What
She
is
ruined
okay?
me.
What is the personality trait that makes someone want? Because if it was me, if you fucked up my burger, I would probably accept it. I wouldn't care that much. But if it's something I really hated, I'd come in there calm and cool. Like, hey, I asked for this. He put it like this happens. This is so I would be polite. This woman was not. What makes someone instead of being polite just go fucking loud and look at me?
Dude,
I don't know.
I'm reminded. Do you guys remember that old school comedy Super Troopers? You remember that
Of
one?
course,
Sure, yeah, I was
yeah,
thinking of him. Farva.
Farva
yeah.
in
That's the
the
guy.
fast food place, man.
Liter of
He's
cola.
there's, there's so many people who are just like teeming with just rage inside of them, just looking for the opportunity to let it
True,
fly. And
true.
they become cops, you know? That's
Or they become people that make scenes in as fast food restaurants. Yes. Yes.
guess so, man. Maybe that's the best moment of their lives, you know, like maybe like having the big dramatic moment where the anger flies, you know, like that just becomes their moments. That's their life right there, you know.
It could change your, if I was sitting, let's say, at an Arby's and then like a huge fight broke out in the front, I would probably rethink my entire life. Like, what am I doing eating at Arby's, dude? I need to like do more with my life. I got to get out of here. I could have been killed today.
Yeah.
Like these people are animals, man. Like I got to do
Yeah,
Your
better.
life's already fucked up if you chose to eat at Arby's, you know, like
Well, they got
that's
that
a bad
sauce though.
choice.
That sauce is really just exceptional. I love that sauce, man.
no. I was with our friend Steven, and we were discussing what we were wanting to eat, and he brought brought up Arby's, and I was like, "Hey, I haven't had Arby's in 15 years, dude. Let's go get some Arby's." So I download
That's
the
usually the
app.
comment. It's been 15 years. Yeah.
I, I just want to say the whole reason we all went to Arby's, you guys remember? Probably not. The 5 for 5. $5, 5 roast
That was
beefs.
15 years ago.
Man, you couldn't
Yeah.
beat that. You couldn't beat that, dude. You'd load up. It was just like, oh, it's too good of a deal. You gotta go. Get 20
Yeah,
burgers. Yeah.
Arby's is no longer a value proposition, along
Yeah.
with any other fast food.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's so
we went
awful.
there. Steve was talking it up. I was like, oh yes, roast beef sounds good. Like, sounds fine. We go there. It was super mid. I was so disappointed, and I agree. Like, I got the bacon cheddar. There wasn't not nearly enough cheddar. The meat had no flavor to it. The bread fell apart. I hated it. I didn't like it. I don't know where I'm
Yeah,
going
fuck
with
it up,
this, but
man.
fuck Arby's,
Now
dude. I'm never
it's the
going back.
disappointment. I remember growing up, I could have $5, go to Taco Bell and feast. Feast. Like little bean burritos and shit like that. Get some of the sauce and all that, and you'd be totally stuffed out of your mind, you know. Those days are gone.
Me,
It's over. Had to go to
me.
China to get cheap food.
I was gonna say in high school, my buddy Austin and me, we'd get not the other Austin, we get high, and we would go to McDonald's to see who could eat more. We would order the same shit and just keep going.
You could afford that, dude. You
We
would
could.
break the bank
It's good times.
nowadays.
We usually
I
just
get
did chicken nuggets. Like who can eat the most chicken nuggets? That's usually the that was
Me, Austin, me and Chase have talked about this. Austin, have you ever taken out a 20-piece McNugget?
Of
That's how you know
course.
you become a
Of
man.
course.
That's
No, not personally. Not personally.
oh.
I've
Not
shared a 20
personal.
piece.
See,
I've
that's
shared a 20
that.
piece, yeah.
See, if taking it out on your own, that's a sign of manhood right there. That's a test.
Yeah.
I think
I
I'm a
failed that test.
yeah, I'm a little disappointed in myself and how quickly I can eat a 20-piece chicken nugget. Like that's not normal. It's not normal. I need to eat less.
You talk about depression food. Getting a 20-piece chicken nugget and going home and open that box, and you get all your sauces out. You get the spicy honey mustard, the honey, I don't know, the barbecue. You line it up, right? Or do you use one? Because I like
That's a
variety when I'm
smart
eating a
idea.
nugget.
I think I'm gonna guess Chase is a sweet and sour only man.
Let me guess. I think he's a honey mustard man.
Mm.
I don't get nuggets that often, but as a kid, I always used to get the sweet and sour. I'll change it up occasionally, but majority of the time, I'll just get sweet and sour.
Man, that was unexpected.
Nostalgic. That's
Very
nostalgic.
unexpected.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I mean, I
Oh, I was
had to.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
well,
go ahead,
sorry,
man.
because Austin, what did you say you ordered at the Chinese food restaurant all the time?
It's a General Tso's chicken with fried rice.
You know what I always order?
General Tso's
I
chicken
know.
fried rice.
The cream of Sungyeon guy.
Oh, you went for the Wayne's World joke. Oh, yeah.
Brian loves that
You're a
joke.
sweet and sour chicken man till you die, right? That's your go-to.
I like the Mongolian beef too. That's
Oh,
good. And
Mongolian.
sure, there was another one I forget. The cashew chicken shit's good. And all types.
Dude, Austin, me and my ex, we lived in Lubbock, which is this shithole in Texas. It was awful. But we found this Chinese restaurant. And it was so good. They had this $5 lunch special where you could get General Tso's chicken with a side of fried rice. And they give you soup, like a little hot sour soup, that sort of thing. That General Tso was the greatest General Tso I have ever had. Nothing in China has come close to that shitty little restaurant in Lubbock, Texas. I don't know what they would put. They were putting cocaine in that chicken because it was so goddamn good. We were both completely addicted. We went twice a week.
As a historian, who was General Cao? So who the fuck is this guy? And what did he do?
He's a Sichuan general from a long time ago, but it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't exist in China. They don't even know what General Tso is. The only thing they know is Kung Pao chicken, which is Gong Bao Jiding. But
How did he get
other
the
than that,
name?
it's all fucking.
He's got the
Tso
whole.
is a name. It's not so. It's To. Yeah,
To.
that's like a last name. You know?
Yeah, who is this guy, and how come he's referred to for all the chicken from China?
I don't know. I just know he's from Sichuan. That's all I know.
Szechuan, like the sauce, right?
Just one.
Yeah, Sichuan is that's where Wu Yan is from. He was born in Sichuan in Chengdu. Man, it's like where the pandas are and the bamboo forests and shit.
That's the only thing I didn't like about him when he was out here. He's like, yeah, this one's the best. Food's the best. But I was like,
It is
yeah,
the
that doesn't sound too good to me.
What is it about the Szechuan? It's like a pepper, right? I think I watched. There's a YouTube channel called like Best Food Review. The guy wears a
Hmm.
bandana. I think the
Hmm.
Szechuan, that's like a pepper, right? It's something special.
So this is a weird thing. Like the pepper didn't exist in China for a long time. It came from India. The Buddhist monks brought it up, you know, and they crossbred the peppercorns that they did have in China with some of the peppers from India, and they made this thing called mala, and that's like the spice that's unique to Sichuan. So you can thank Buddhism for the Sichuan food, man. They brought it
Oh my
over.
God.
Yeah.
There's a
Evolution in action.
there's a
Hmm.
special type of pepper, and I learned this in Cambodia because I was eating some, and I was like, "What is that?" Like pepper. I was like, "That's not fucking pepper." So apparently in Cambodia, and maybe it's in India too, like on certain mountain ranges, grows a certain type of pepper. It's pepper, but it's got flavor. It's very bizarre. It tastes so much
Peppers
better.
have big flavor.
Oh man, this was good. And I was like, what do you, they're like, oh, the French take it all and sell it as like French pepper, but it's grown in Cambodia, man. Crazy.
Huh. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
You think the French would have learned their lesson after Vietnam? We came in after the French, after they failed, and we was like, we're gonna pick this up.
I like how you put that. You failed and we had to come in and fight a war over it. Just to remind you.
I love French history because it is just fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. It is just
What is
it
wrong with
is
them?
like
I think I look at their country now, I'm like, God, they're fucking up. Like, look at them.
they
They're just
they
protesting and fucking up. Yeah.
they have a perpetual history of blowing their load too quickly.
Mm,
You know,
mm.
like they get so excited and worked up. They get a revolution, they get an empire, and they're like, yeah, it all dies. You know, like that's just how they are, man. That's how they are. Every single one of their great heroes always ends in death, like Joan of Arc and stuff like that.
Mm.
This unbelievable story of this woman touched by God, and she comes and leads an army, and then she fucking burns at the stake. You know, they're like, yeah, we got to kill this bitch too far. You know, same thing with Napoleon. You know, I'm gonna conquer the world, and okay, go get rid of this little bitch at Waterloo. You know, that sort of thing. It's just over and over getting too fucking excited, and then it's over.
I will say there was a movie, The Beach, with Leonardo DiCaprio a long time ago. It's a shitty movie,
Classic.
but there's this beautiful French chick in it, and the way a beautiful French girl speaks English to me is like bring me to my knees. Just like, oh my God, say, just tell me whatever you want me to do, and I'll do it. It's just, oh, I love the French accent speaking English by somebody beautiful, not ugly fucking French people, but beautiful French women.
Have you ever had a conversation turn you on?
I've had a voice turn me on.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
that similar?
Am
Usually
I?
the conversation turns me off. That's what I've experienced quite a bit.
I've been really into Woody Allen over the past year. Austin, have you ever seen a Woody Allen movie?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few. I think I really like his movies. They're very
I
ironical.
love his movies. I love them. Annie Hall, I think, is a masterpiece. And but just recently, I saw Play It Again, Sam, and there's a really great moment where basically the whole gist of the story is he wants to fuck his best friend's wife. That's it. That's the whole
Who
end of the story.
doesn't?
And
Who doesn't?
he has this moment where he's talking to his best friend's wife's getting drunk and all that, and they're alone and doing all this, and she starts talking. She's like, "Hey, did you hear they caught the rapist in the park? You know?" And then they're like in San Francisco or whatever, and he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And she says, Woody Allen's like, "What would you do if you were caught by a rapist?" And she said, "I'd let him fuck me." And then halfway through, once he was really into it, that's when I'd fuck him over the head and kill him. And then she says, unless he was enjoying it, unless I was enjoying it, then I think I'd let it happen. You know, and I was like, what? What is this conversation? Like, I could not believe that this conversation was happening in 1973. You know what I mean? And she starts laughing through it. And she's like, I don't know. Maybe it would be more exciting than what it's like with my husband, you know? Like, and you could tell she was seriously contemplating this. Like, yeah, maybe if I got raped, what if I was enjoying it? What if it was wonderful? And my mind exploded, and you can see Woody Allen like in his mind saying, "This is my moment. This is my moment. This is when I gotta fucking do it. You know, be bold and all that." And I was like, "This is fucking interesting." That conversation was exciting. I would love for somebody to start talking about that. You
Did
know,
he make his move?
he did, and it goes terrible.
Yeah.
But it's Woody Allen. You know, he always fucks everything up. You know. But dude, I want to have those conversations. I want to have those conversations with people, right? Like, what would you do if you liked being raped? You know,
Well,
I want to
do
open
you-
that up and see where it
please,
goes.
yeah, don't say that too loud. But there was one of those. It was back when I was like actually into psychology, when I was like getting a master's in cared, and I was watching like a doc on a prison psychologist would interview certain inmates about their crimes and whatnot.
Mm.
This guy was a rapist, raped like 17, 18 women. And he was asking him questions about how he got in. But he's like, most of them loved it. Like they got
Ah,
into it. He
well,
said
his
it.
perspective,
Well,
right?
and the psychologist is like, obviously he's got a big ego too. I'm like, well, maybe I don't know. What if he's being honest? I was curious because he said it. He didn't say it egotistically. He's like, no, most of them got into it. Yeah, they accepted it and liked it. I
Dude,
was like,
I'll always
interesting.
remember in Sujo,
Jesus.
there was a
I
it
know.
was one of those weird moments where there was just like a synchronicity of gay people. In that it was like this big school I was working at, and everyone in the history and English department was gay. It was just a bunch of gay dudes.
And
You
then
know,
you guys
they were
start
all from
doing
England.
this, and the voices get
It
high.
was like they were all English though and South African, so it was a little weird. But anyways, I remember this guy named John, and John is like posh, fancy, wears suits and ties, handsome and everything like that. Kind of, talk like this, a little bit gay, but very posh and and all that. And anyways, I started talking to John about like, oh, we're gonna go out do this or whatever. And I was like, John, what do you do for fun? He's like, I go to Taiwan. I was like, oh, cool. What's in Taiwan? He's like, there's just things I like to do. What do you like to do? It's kind of like you and Dr. John Chase.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was like, and he like kind of looks around, and nobody else is there. And he's like, I like to like, I kind of get into aggressive stuff. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I get dudes to like forcibly rape me. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, no, I like arrange it, where they like capture me in an alley and they take me away and they have their way with me. It's all prearranged. It's all prearranged, but it's pretty hot. It's pretty realistic. Oh my God, I can't believe we're talking about this. No, 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 like, and then he started really getting into it and telling me about it. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But he says there's a whole section, like there's a whole part of Taipei just dedicated to this, arranging rapes. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Austin, you want to go? You want to try? Huh?
uh
Let's
Austin's
do it, man.
questioning.
Come on.
He's like, I don't know why I'm on this podcast again.
I'll tell
I
you what I
mean,
really want to talk about, Dean.
okay, let's hear your gay
And it's
fantasy.
not
Yeah.
organizing rapes in Taiwan or whatever you're talking
Okay,
about.
okay, okay. All right.
However fun that sounds. Lyndon Baines Johnson,
LBJ.
LBJ, listening to a book that claims LBJ was behind the Kennedy assassination, and they're making a strong case for it.
Was he
I
the,
mean, I haven't heard that, but I do know this. LBJ was by far the most powerful politician in America. Before being president, he ran the U.S. Senate like a goddamn tyrant. And I've never heard that conspiracy, but if anybody had the power, it's possible it was him.
hey, wasn't that weird? I mean, I just was thinking about it because it was so stupid. I was like, oh, we're releasing all the JFK documents, and just like, there's thousands of pages. Like, yeah, who fucking did it? Yeah, we don't know.
It's all fucking redacted too. Yeah. It's
What,
it's all terrible.
what is this shit, man? Just fucking tell us. We don't want to read 1,000 pages. I don't need the backstory. Just tell me who fucking did it. Nothing.
Dean,
Austin,
have
what's the
you?
argument?
Well, to be fair, I did fall asleep while listening to it.
Oh, okay.
But he was, they're making the part that I heard, they're making a case for his character. Like, this guy's a scumbag. This guy is like a ruthless politician. This guy probably faked or like did something very shady to get into Congress in the first place. Uh, There's a lot of cases of this man breaking out his penis to reporters. Have you heard of this? Apparently,
A big
LBJ had a giant penis, and he would just pull it out in front of people.
damn. That's boss.
So LBJ, I find LBJ fascinating. He's from Texas, like East Texas. He was a school teacher. He was a history teacher, actually. And he absolutely knew how Texas politics worked. It was all good old boys. You know what I mean? Like it had nothing to do with elections. It had nothing to do with democracy. It was knowing the right hand to shake, you know? And LBJ was a filthy man in a lot of respects. He did used to show his penis. We have records of. There's even a picture of his penis. You know, I've seen it. It was quite the hog. You know, but it was like an old man dick, like big long balls, like just like a pendulum swinging. You know what I mean? But anyway, and like if you
Okay.
hear like he references his he calls them his gonads, my gonads. There, you know,
And
like
then
there's a
that
great photo of him buying pants. Yeah,
he the nickname he had for it was Jumbo. And it says
Jumbo.
occasionally he would walk around with his pants unzipped, walk up to his colleagues and ask, "Hey, have you ever seen anything this big?"
I mean, if you had one. Would it? I mean, president of the United States and a big dick. Come on, come on.
That's
But here's
big
what I'll say
dick.
about
That's big
LBJ.
dick energy right there, man.
LBJ is responsible for the most progressive action done in the United States since Roosevelt. The war on poverty, Medicaid, yeah, the Civil Rights Act, all of these things, 100% LBJ. LBJ, like he's from Texas. He's a Democrat. He should be racist as fuck. He pushes through all the NAACP stuff. He brings Democrats and Republicans together. His party's racist to its core. You know, Medicaid, the most popular American program ever, more popular than Social Security. You know, and I really do believe that domestically, he had an amazing vision for the United States of America, but the fucking Vietnam War totally fucked him over. You know, if it wasn't for Vietnam, which was Kennedy's fault from the beginning, I think he would have gone down as one of the great presidents in U.S. history.
Hmm.
Hmm. See, maybe this book is a character assassination because
Well, he
he
has a
did
lot of
say
them.
a couple positive things about LBJ, but he did say he's a ruthless politician, and
Yes.
he said he put a lot of the blame in Vietnam on LBJ, and I don't know, didn't make him look very good in the
So
book.
Vietnam, so after the Korean War, right, they had the Geneva Accords, which divides Korea into North and South. And just for the hell of containment, they say, let's throw Vietnam in there too. Let's make it a South and a North, and we'll make the South democratic, and we'll make the North into a communist country, right? And what happens after that is Eisenhower begins to actively become involved in South Vietnam by promoting this guy Diem, the head of South Vietnam, right? And he's totally corrupt to his core. He's Catholic hardcore, and he gets rid of all the Buddhist shit when, of course, 80% of the population is Buddhist, eliminates all the Buddhist holidays, only does Catholic holidays, like converts temples into Catholic stuff. People get pissed, you know? Suddenly, the Vietnamese start to get the Viet Cong going, which is the Southern resistance fighters who are communist. Eisenhower steps out. Kennedy's like, fuck, there's about to be a revolution here. We have to send troops to Vietnam. And so he sends troops, he sends officers, he sends weapons to protect South Vietnam, but it's too little too late. And every year, people get more and more pissed at ZM. More and more people want revolution. And the Americans realize, fuck, we're losing this place. Kennedy's assassinated. There's already 10,000 troops on the ground. If you admit to defeat, when Khrushchev and Stalin are at their peak, especially after the Cuban Missile Crisis, you know, you make America look like a little bitch. And everybody's going to already say that the USSR is in charge of this superpower dynamic. You didn't have a fucking choice, man. You couldn't pull out of Vietnam. And it wasn't until 1968 when the Tet Offensive happened that Americans started to turn on it, anyways. So I feel for the
Wow,
guy, personally do.
man, that's amazing. Well, maybe I'll listen to the book and I'll come back and have a wonderful counter and say actually he's a scumbag. He killed JFK himself. So, but
He's definitely a filthy politician, man. Like he strong arms people. Like he knew Texas politics inside and out, and he could get anything done in the Senate and House because he would just make phone calls. He'd be like, "Oh, you're not going to vote for this? Well, we're closing down the military base in your district. Yeah, sorry. Oh, you're not going to vote for this. Well, I guess we're going to go to your elected district and we're going to open up a toxic waste dump. Like that kind of shit. That's how he worked. And he got shit done because of it.
Oh,
Huh?
so what? Just curious, who would you rather have? Would you rather have a leader like that with big dick energy, literally, or like a Justin Trudeau, or like that whatever that French dude is that runs France, that Macron or whatever? Which one would you prefer if you had to pick between those opposite ends of the spectrum?
Well, I'd rather ask the question of like, would you rather have an Obama or a Johnson?
A
You know what I
big
mean?
dick energy, or okay, Obama, yeah, with one or the other, yeah, Obama or Johnson.
Well, Obama got the image across, which was nice, where the world kind of respects us. But in terms of actually getting shit done, he was kind of feckless. Johnson got shit done. Genuinely, he understood that the game was dirty and he played it that way. He played the Game of Thrones, man.
With his
And
cock out
that's
the entire time.
important.
Yeah,
What? Rocking out with your cock out.
I
That's
I,
important, man.
I want the guy
Would
with
you
the
want a
big dick.
president with
I
a
want
micro dick?
no. It would.
Yeah,
I couldn't handle it. I couldn't support
not
somebody like
American.
that. No way.
Not American. You know?
They say that
I
about
got
Hitler. They said he had a very tiny penis. I don't know how true that is, but
Well, which
see, like
which
how
end
we
are
know.
you on, Austin? Which one would you prefer, Obama or Johnson?
Or big dick or tiny dick. What do you prefer?
man, I think there's too many insecurities around a small penis. I don't know if I could trust a person like that.
Austin, let's just have it all out there right now. Okay. How big is your dick? Let's just share it with the world. Okay. Let's get it out
Oh
there.
no,
Let's share that. It's important. Okay.
I can't answer that. I can't. I'm unable to.
Everybody, everybody knows what that means. Okay.
Yeah.
So sit there with your
Just
little pecker. All right.
let's assume for let's assume the worst. Okay, let's assume the worst. But
I gotta say that that's a big power move to pull out your dick as the president of the United States. I'd love to do that with like Putin. Like if it was like LBJ and he just pulls it out in
What
front of
do,
Putin.
do you think?
How do you react to that?
I have a feeling Putin's probably packing something. Like he
We
ain't tall.
assume that, but what if he's compensating?
There's no
What if he's
way.
compensating?
He's
You
too
know,
confident. He's too confident. I can't imagine that.
mm,
I
it
can't
is.
imagine with a big dick either. You know,
I
like
imagine
I'm
like
sorry,
a fat dick, like a really fat one. That's what I imagine.
I bet he's got the fupa going on. It may be a chode, but it's
Chode.
like half consumed by the fat. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
and also
unbelievably
orange
thick.
hairy,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gray and orange. Oh God! Oh my
He's
God!
supposed to have like a harem of women, man. He's got a harem. You know how many
He's
are ever?
Trump,
believe that.
of
Yeah.
course. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah. So
there used to be a website in the 90s. I don't know what happened to it, but it was like one of the first websites, and it was just groupies from rock bands rating the dicks of rockers that they'd fuck. You
oh,
know,
what a great sight.
that was it. It was just women like going on. Like apparently Kirk was packing Kurt Cobain, but they said like the guy from Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, apparently had a tiny pecker and was terrible in bed. You
Hmm.
know? Yeah.
There's this scene I used to watch, like when there was Vine or like even shorts, like this little minute clip. This Spanish woman, it's like this Western, and they come up to her and they're holding up two guys like, hey. He goes, "You fuck them both." She goes, "Yeah." How big's his pecker? Oh, 7, 8 inches. He drops his pants. They all look at it like, yeah. And what about him? 3 inches. And they all look at it. They all look
Whoa.
at it and they're like, that's right. It's like they're dropping pants and they're like, she's good. Yeah.
What is this, Chase? Austin, we really dropped the brow in this conversation today. I'm sorry. You should be in that Hardy's reading Schopenhauer. That's going to be better for
Dude,
you.
that was
Talk.
profound today. That made me rethink my entire life, actually. It's just you know what? I kind of had that today. I was in the gas station in Hawaii. You got me there. Gas station right before we started. I wanted to grab something to eat. Gas station food, of course. And there was 6 people behind the counter doing all coats of nothing. One person was working one cash register, and another one just had a close sign. They were talking. They were doing counting quarters. And the line went almost out the door. There's like 20 people in there, and nobody said anything because it's Hawaii.
That's standard Hawaii.
I
That's
couldn't,
standard.
I couldn't believe it. And right when I got to the front of the lines, when they opened the second one, it blew my mind. I was like, the line's going out the door, and you didn't help anybody. And now, after talking here in Austin's story about Schopenhauer and mayonnaise, what am I doing getting food at a gas station on Saturday? I got to do better. I got to do better, man. I got to step it up.
I agree with that. That's a terrible situation. If you're buying food at a gas station at all, you're obviously declining emotionally.
Chase, how long have you been buying food from that gas station?
That's
How
all
many
I got. That's all
years?
I have by
Uh,
this house. And it's different in Asian communities. They have better quality food in their gas stations. You can
That's true.
attest to
yeah, that
this.
actually that gas station is all right.
Chase,
It's
what do
not
you
really
get?
a gas station. It's like a gas station store. It's big. It's like a grocery store slash
Okay.
gas station.
I want to hear what he gets. Do you get a little like personal pizza or?
Oh no, they do just chicken and rice or enchiladas or something like that. They got fried
That sounds
chicken too.
nice.
They got all types of stuff, man. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Doesn't
bowl's
sound
all
nearly
right.
as bad. I thought you were picking a hot dog off the rotator,
If
you
I'm
know.
in a rush, I'll grab the corn dog. Like if I want to, the
Can
spicy
I
corn
just
dog.
say though, the hot dog on the rotate, getting back to this phallic imagery, I will say, like growing up, Austin, if I was especially good, and I remember Vic used to do this, he would take me to Circle K
Mm.
to get a hot dog. And I remember I looked forward to those hot dogs, man. I loved those Circle K hot dogs. They were better than the ones at home. It was a
Yeah.
great treat.
Dude,
A
what about a,
special treat.
a Costco hot dog? It's like $1.50 with a drink. Like
Still,
you
yeah,
have to get
still.
it just because it's such a good deal. It's not that good of a hot dog, but it's just like I can't pass. I got to eat
It's a
it.
pretty good hot dog. I get the Polish dog, man. Polish dog's even better.
Really?
Oh yeah, a totally different sort of sausage, man. Really good. And do you put the shit on it? Do you put
Hey,
the relish,
do you?
ketchup, and the mustard?
Oh yeah, I put it all on. Dude, remember when me and you went to the Costco in Kona and that angry old man on like a scooter came up to us and was like, "Hey, who are you voting for?" With
Oh
all the
yeah, I
deck
remember that. He
decked
wanted to
out in
start a fight.
this is a liberal state. He's decked out in Trump gear, man, and he was looking for a fight. Who are you voting for? I don't know why he picked us. I was like, yeah, I'll vote for Trump. He's like, oh, okay.
He was disappointed. He wanted to fight. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He wanted to fight. I was like, dude,
Was that during the pandemic? Was that
yeah,
pandemic time?
yes,
Oh yeah.
yes.
Fuck.
He
Okay.
was he
Just
was
waiting in
upset.
line.
He was looking to at least verbally argue with somebody. That was bizarre.
Chase, I
Yeah,
mean, you're
you
kind of
remember
a
that shit.
resident Trumper, right? Like, you like that guy?
I love Trump. He makes me
Okay.
laugh. I have never watched politics and cried. Sometimes he's made me cry. I'm laughing so hard. And
My favorite.
anybody that makes me cry, Austin, doesn't have to be a politician because most people are not funny. If you can make me laugh, I'll whatever, man. I'll support whatever you're doing. Anything you're doing,
Yeah.
I will support it. Yes.
Hitler was not known for his sense of humor.
Yeah.
But what has Trump done lately that was good in your eyes? I haven't really been following it that closely. Anything happened?
Just yesterday, he's like, "There's a bill that says there's two genders, and I think we can all agree in this room, except you, Karen. What do you do you disagree?" Pointed her out, and she goes, "No." He goes, "Oh, that's good. You're on board." I was like, "I love that. I love that he points out the one person in the room that would disagree in front on national TV. It was fantastic. Made me laugh."
Case, do you what do you think of the chaos though?
Of what?
Like for example, this whole signal thing, where fucking journalists are peering into top classified information and shit, you know.
Oh, I love this. I love the just the chaos. And what I really love too is to see the Democratic Party. Just I've hated them for so long. Just they just disgust me with their fake morality and all this woke shit. All the big
Oh,
ones now, that Jasmine idiot and the AOs, they are so dumb. Like these people are genuinely stupid, and they're putting them at the top of the ticket. That party's dead, man. So Republicans will probably evolve into something evil again, and then there'll have to be a new party to rise up against them. Won't be the
so
Democrat.
I forgot Austin. I've read a book on the side this week because it was just that good. Ezra Klein. Chase, do you know who Ezra Klein is?
I know what a recliner is, not Ezra Klein.
He is the left Sam Harris, let's
Oh,
say.
oh, the
Like
Indian dude that's really confident.
No,
No,
no, he's not Indian. Fucking
British.
New
He's
York Times.
British.
No, he's Jewish.
Oh,
He's a Jewish American. But anyways, this guy wrote a book that came out. Everybody's talking about it. It's called Abundance. And I just kept hearing it over and over and over and over on news shows. And I kept seeing him. I was like, fuck it, I'll just get the audio book.
oh, he talked to
You
John
know,
Stewart, and even they were
talked to
both
Jon
like they
Stewart.
were appalled. They were appalled, right?
It's the most horrifying book I have ever read. It's just about, there's a great quote. I think it's by, I don't remember who it's by, but it's the bureaucracy is expanding to meet the needs of the expanding bureaucracy. And he gives this example. he gives lots of examples, but there's this great example of like high speed rail in California, right? In 2009, they were going to build high speed rail San Francisco to LA, right? They set aside 500 billion. You know how many miles of rail they've laid since then?
I can't remember. Not hardly any.
Zero.
Zero.
And all of it's gone in France, not exactly known for being a land free of bureaucracy. They've laid over 20,000. In China, over 100,000, right? In the same amount of time.
Well, and it's like
California,
regulations, right?
dude,
There's
he goes through
regulations.
it.
You can object to it. You have a time limit. You can contest it. And it's like it's ridiculous.
Oh my God. He did this one where he was doing like Biden did the whole like put up electric charging stations, 59 of them all across America, right? This was done in 2020. This fucking bit, like they've gotten two done in all this time. And he went through the whole process. There are 18 steps. Each state gets to do it. You have to have a planning, and then you have a diversity committee, and then you have a time for commentary from the community, and then you have to answer the commentary. Then you have to have a state proposal and then a federal proposal, and then you have to revise each proposal, and then you have to have the Environmental Planning Act, and then you have to, and it just keeps going and going. It expands infinitely. And by the time you get to the end of the process, only 3 of the 59 are left because the rest of them just said, fuck it. It's not worth it. And it just makes you sick because you see, if you just didn't have the bureaucracy, we could have cool shit like high speed rail. It could have been fucking done by now.
Yeah.
But the bureaucracy just keeps expanding. It was fucking a great critique. It was great. I hope
because we
everyone
can't
takes it
hurt
up.
anybody. We can't hurt the hedgehogs. You know, the grass is native here. We can't cut the. You know, it's just it goes to la la land. It's insane, dude. Out here, the liberal. I didn't get power in this house for weeks. I sat here with no power and no fucking
I
water.
remember
They
that.
did. They had to do a native land inspection to make sure there was no historical artifacts. This motherfucker pulled up in the driveway, did a twist, 360 degrees, and said, "Sign this." And I was like, "This is it. I've been waiting weeks for this motherfucker to get paid to come out here and do a twirl." That was it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He didn't
Hawaii is the worst of it.
go dig up in your backyard looking for
He
artifacts.
did not give a fuck. He just whatever. Yeah, sign here. Yeah.
He probably has like a certain time, like, okay, you get 2 weeks on this property, and I'm like, I'm gonna just take it out in 5 minutes and leave.
I want
And I
his
got the
job.
whole week.
I want his job. He's the greatest job in the world. Man.
Sounds amazing.
He's got no competition too.
Well,
so
also,
he just keeps doing
also,
whatever he
he's like, how can you be a Trumper? Trump to me is not that bright. You know, he cracks jokes. That's what he does. But anything complex, like 18 steps, Trump's naturally going to be like, let's knock this down to 3 or 4, ideally 1, you know? And at this
Yeah.
point where we are, I think that's a good thing. You know, maybe some shit's going to get cut, but we went to Lunaticville with the woke shit and just the trans shit and just the insane shit we have to put up with. And you can't talk bad about someone of color, especially a woman of color. And it's just, this is privilege. You're born with privilege if you're white. It's just, I just couldn't take it anymore, man. So thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Should we tackle that before we should we tackle white privilege before we wrap things up?
Tackle it. Go for it.
I don't want to tackle. I like
What, you know,
as
the
someone-
white man doesn't want to talk, huh? The palest of all of us. You're the whitest amongst us. Okay?
Pale skin,
Chase
claiming
might
to be a
Mexican.
native.
I'm
You know what,
dating an
Dean?
Asian. You, on the other hand, are in Alabama with your white boyfriend and your white privilege and your white ninja bike. You know, all of it
Yeah.
is basically a white man's dream. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the white man's dream has become a nightmare, sadly. I never saw it coming. In 95, I never saw this coming. I mean, I was 5 at the time, but I don't know, man. I grew up around a lot of white people, and I never really understood how privileged we really were, you know? What really gets me is, as someone that has been on the left my entire life, it was very depressing to watch it slide and the kind of philosophical insanity that you saw. Everyone has white privilege. Everyone's bracketed in the different genres of people. Like I don't know. It's pretty wild because I want to help minorities, right? I like gay people. I like people that are looked over by society. I think they should be looked after. But it's like you concocted something so annoying and so forceful and lacking nuance that you just it was like designed to push people away from all that stuff is how ultimately feel about it.
I,
And I mean, I myself was pushed away from the left because of their insanity. You know, it's like the opposite. You know, like what's the worst thing you can do for a cause is be like a bad proponent of that cause, and the left has done that for people like myself. You know, people that are you know, technically a minority, not the white part, but the gay part. Sure.
here's my problem. I think you hit on it earlier. Is they bring it up. So for someone like me, I never grew up when nobody was being degraded or talking down to. And I'm a psychologist. I look at everyone individually. But if you come up to me and start talking about oppression, my people, I'm like, nothing in our interactions have caused this. You just want to tell me about your plight. It makes me not like you, and it transfers to your people too. Like if I'm friends with my brothers, the black guys or the Latin guys, and I see them being mistreated, totally. But if you're bringing up a topic where there's no need to bring it up, I don't want to hear about your social justice or your pain or what your people like. You're making me dislike you even more. Just treat me like an equal. I'll treat you like an equal. Don't tell me about I hate people that come up to me and like, oh, white people, white privilege. I'm like, I'm white. So just say chase. Just say chase your people, chase your privilege. Even though I'm not talking, it's like, it's such a stupid approach that even if you have legitimacy to it, you're pissing people off. Piss me off. So making me hate people
Austin,
I never hated before in my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's one book, a history book, that I genuinely recommend everybody read. It's the autobiography of Malcolm X. It's
Short,
short little
right?
thing,
It's 50 pages or something. Yeah.
super short, but man, oh man, it's just powerful, right? Um, he has a quote where he says, "The profundity of the white man's guilt is so deep and complex, he is incapable of fathoming it." And I think that the real question is, how do modern white people, or even modern Americans in a broader sense, process the guilt? You know, because yeah, you might be like Chase where you don't feel anything, but I think there's huge swaths of the American population that feel tremendous guilt about history and also about their quote unquote responsibility for that history. And no matter what you think, there's tons and tons of people who really do feel that and believe that they have guilt and that they're responsible, and they don't know how to process it. You know, part of processing it for them is somebody pointing at them and saying, "You did this to me. You're the one who's privileged," right? It's not working, but that is a way to respond to that guilt. My question is, how do you deal with it?
Well,
What do you do with the people who feel that way? You
Well,
know?
I want to say, I think we recognize that for you. I think you nailed it. So people are like, there's racism in this country. I'm like, I haven't really seen it. And if I've seen real racism, like saying shit horrible about other people, it's usually directed at white people. What I see from the majority, I'm not saying what of white people, is just unbelievable guilt. Oh my God, I hope I don't say that. I hope I don't offend. I hope
Yes.
I don't want to do this. I need to take this. I need to be sympathetic. I'm like, that is racism. Like you are making things 10 times worse trying to be aware because you come across as so inauthentic. So then minorities are like, oh, here's this white bitch trying to be nice. Here's this white guy trying to pretend to be, it's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So what I see the minorities that hate white people, and then I see white people. I don't run into white people saying I hate black people. I run into white people terrified of being called a racist or terrified of doing something that could be seen as racist. I see them living in fear of being a racist. Yeah.
Yeah, I've lived in Alabama for a good portion of my life. I lived in Canada. I've never had anybody walk up to me and be like, "Hey, man, how about those N-words?" Right? Like, I hate those people. That's
Exactly.
never happened. They've never said it about Asian people. There's this thing on Apex Legends. It was like a little thing you could put in your profile that said "Stop Asian Hate." I never heard one person ever say, "Oh, those fucking Asian people." You know, like
Who's
I
giving
never
Asian hate? What
never
is that?
heard
Like,
it.
oh, from the COVID days.
Yeah,
Oh,
from the
it's a
COVID.
Chinese vaccine.
Because that is the height of retardation, of course. Yeah, Asian. I don't even know how many billions of Asian people. They're all responsible for COVID. The Filipinos, the Japanese, the Chinese. I mean, maybe the Chinese, but not all the other Asians. Okay. I mean, obviously, do all Chinese people just cycle through the Wuhan laboratory and just give virology a shot? Is that how it works, Dean? In that case, maybe every Chinese person is responsible for COVID. But other than
They do what
that,
they're told to do. Yes.
okay. So one
Yeah.
by one, they say, "Hey, it's your day. Go to the Wuhan lab of virology. And you put on this suit. Okay. Now you poke the virus a little bit. Okay. Next."
But Austin, do you think that there is a way to deal with the collective guilt? I mean, you know what I'm talking about, and what
Oh
Chase
yeah.
is talking about, right? Like, is there a way for a society to sort of, deal with the collective guilt, and move on, because it feels like America is just not capable of fucking moving on, you know?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like original sin repackaged, It's like everyone feels a little bit of guilty about anyway. And would take like a Jungian approach, like we all have repressed desires, and that's probably what we feel guilty about. And if you give someone like a label and say, actually, you don't feel guilty because you want to have sex with your mother, you want to kill your father, and so on and so forth. You feel guilty because you're like in some metaphysical way, you're like partly responsible for what this white guy did 200 years ago. And that I don't get. I think people already feel guilty about being human and everything that comes along with it. And like I've been listening to a little bit of history, like when I go to sleep. And what I realized, like I was listening to the history of Russia from like 1900 forward. I was like, history is just people killing each other. Like there's no good history. Things never turn out well for very long. I was like, that's what we feel guilty about. I don't think we feel like you feel guilty because slavery happened 100 years ago. I think you feel guilty because you're a human being and you have an innate aggression and a lot of like very dark, twisted drives that society's kind of like help you repress. But that's what you feel guilty about. And
Right.
until we deal with that, I think you're going to be able to tell people they feel guilty for any number of reasons. You feel guilty because you're actually an alien and you came down to Earth and incarnated, and you're actually a fugitive from justice from Mars. And people be like, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I mean, I really
Yeah, well,
believe you can tell people anything to feel guilty about.
man, it would be nice if there was some universal narrative like that we could all believe in. Like, we're all aliens, all of us. That's why none of this works out. It's just we're not meant to be here. That's why we're fucking it all up. Like, at least we could all agree on that.
I
And
think
from there, the perspective would start to heal. Yeah.
I was going to go the opposite direction. Austin makes a great point is it has to be the collective guilt truly has to be just one. Like the Buddhist thing. It's all from the same consciousness and we all feel bad because when we look back, we're all murdering each other for fucking horrible reasons and it doesn't matter what you look like. And if we can get on that page, I think that alleviates it. It's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of everybody. It's not my people, it's like all of us. The other approach, I'm thinking on the other side, that famous interview with Morgan Freeman with that Jewish guy is like, oh, what do you think of Black History Month? He's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't need a month for Black history. Do you have a month for white history? He's like, oh, immediately he goes, I'm Jewish. Like he has to separate himself from the whiteness. I'm like, yeah, that conversation goes nowhere. So I say maybe we just don't talk about it for a generation or two. And I think it maybe just dies off. If you raise a kid nowadays and don't tell them anything about race, I don't think they're going to be treated much differently. They'll be fine. It's either that or we all get on the same page with the Buddhist approach. It's all just a horrific past that we all share. One or the other.
Well, it is weird when you talk about history, right? Like, so for example, like there's two ways to deal with history. Like, consider the Germans, right? You are required in German school to have an entire year on Holocaust studies. Yeah, an
It,
entire year just on the genocide that was executed. And you have to spend time deeply studying the Third Reich and Nazi Germany, right? They really do believe that
I heard the opposite.
guilt, appreciation. Oh no, it's standard, right? It came at with Willy Brandt in the 70s and 80s. But the other approach is, say, the Japanese approach, where you do not talk about Nanjing. You do not talk about the horrors of the Japanese army. You don't talk about the mass torture, the medical experiments, or anything like that. You just graze over it and move on, you know? And this has impacts on society. It fundamentally changes that society,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you really got to think about, like, okay, you don't talk about slavery. for a generation. You don't talk about Jim Crow for a generation. Yeah, maybe things become, less racially based, but at the same time, there could be unforeseen consequences from
You
ignoring that.
you
You know,
teach it with the lens of this is a universal trait. You talk about Jim Crow, you give other examples in time when black people did it to black people, when Native Americans did it to Native Americans, when white people did it to white. You make them see that this is a theme that all humans share. You don't say this is what the white people did.
but if
Yeah.
your goal in a high school class is to develop American identity, right? Yeah. Meaning you can have a universal picture of human beings, but at the same time, it's about developing citizens in a public school, right? What is the image you want them to have of America?
That's it. Dude, what country is more diverse than America? You got a little bit of everything sprinkled into every classroom. You want to unite them. That unites them. That shows, hey, we're all from the same background. Same.
Yeah. Yeah, like talk about a Buddhist perspective. That's one of the things you have to internalize is that you're here because you've done a like endless amount of terrible things, and you have all that karma behind you.
I hate the term people of color. Like it bothers me so much. It's just like just say everybody but white people. Because
Hmm.
the term you're using to position yourself, and people say it so freely nowadays, it's so dividing. It's unbelievably dividing. If any of us here, it's like, all right, it's you against, I guess, my people. That's essentially what you're saying from the beginning of the conversation. It's such a stupid concept. It leads to nowhere. It leads to nowhere.
I think it leads to violence because you're automatically framing
It leads to violence.
we're the good people, we're the repressed, they're the bad people, they're the dominators. They deserve what they get, you know. I think that's extremely dangerous. And I just like take it from a human centric perspective. All humans are flawed, all humans are weak and violent, and given the right opportunity, they're going to subjugate their friends and people of their color and
Yep.
people of other color. Give a human being any excuse and they'll fuck over anybody, unless they're raised properly,
And
of
I'd
course.
say, as the university counselor and working with the teens, what I saw with the white kids is just broken with guilt and shame. Just like, oh my God, I hope I didn't. Like, they are raised to feel bad. You're raising a whole sect of people to just feel guilty for shit they never did. And it's not going to work. You're creating a generation of broken people with a particular skin tone. It's fucked. It's fucked, man.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, like what good consequences come out from making people feel terrible their entire lives? I feel like you're gonna create broken people. They're more likely to get into drugs and alcohol, more likely to commit violence because they're trying to treat their bad mental health. That's a lot of that's pressed on them. Yeah, I think it's a
Well, I do
horrible
think that
idea.
there are some people who do dream of the reversal of fortunes. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I think the majority of minorities do that. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's
I think there's fantasies about that. Yeah.
fantasies of like they did it to us, let's wipe them out. And
Yeah.
I hear themes of this, and they get away saying it. It's just it's just it's fucked. It's very fucked up narrative that we allow to happen. It's not normal.
You allow it to happen because I think that the other thing of it is the futility of dreaming that. Like it is hilarious to imagine Hawaiians like
That's what I'm
making
thinking
an
of.
independent Hawaii. It is hilarious to imagine that that country would last maybe 48 hours before it all burns down.
What
Okay, like it is crazy, you
can
know.
you imagine multiple times being a psychologist in this state? I had Hawaiians be like, just to let you know, I don't like haoles. I don't like white people. To begin. I could never say that to anybody. Like I appreciate the honesty, but it's like this is a hell of a divide from the get-go. It's just like, but I guess I know where you're at. I could never start a conversation with a Hawaiian and be like, I don't
Start a
like you.
conversation with, just so you know, I'm racist,
It's
and
just essentially what you're saying. And you say it so freely to people. Yeah, I'm racist against you, but I'm going to talk to you. And you have to just listen. Like, okay, sure. I'll take it. Why not?
I remember there was an episode of Cops, and this Hawaiian guy was in a park, high out of his mind on meth, and screaming, "I hate white people. I hate white people."
That's just a Tuesday,
that's all
man.
that.
I know that
But
guy.
it is interesting because it does tell you about the state of race in the world. I think there's a lot of people where all they got is hate
Yes.
for the other. You know what I mean? Like I know that there's some black people like this where it's all they got, you know, and it would be wrong to deny that there isn't inequality, especially when we're talking about things like poverty, right? Hawaii is a great example, man. You look at the state of the locals; those are some poor motherfuckers, man.
Well,
You know, they're
so
not exactly rocking
Alabama's what I mean, certain parts of the states, majority of people in welfare are
across the
white.
railroad tracks,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
you'll see, you know. So I mean, there are realities that you have to acknowledge. You know what I'm saying? But I know that those people they're going to continue contributing to the narrative because there's not anywhere else for their psychological energy to go.
Yeah.
Anywhere else is just the misery and poverty of it all.
And
You know,
if we take out the grouping from all this, Austin's always like, I hate collective guilt. And I was like, yeah, I hate collective guilt too. I hate anybody that leans into collective guilt and just comes out with hate. Anybody that produces hate as on an individual basis consistently, I'm like, brother, just stay away from me. I don't want to work with people like that. I don't want to be around people like that. You do nothing for the planet. You do nothing. You make everybody else worse.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, Dean. I think for certain people, the only superiority they have is over other people. And whether you're a white guy saying that you're better than black people, you're better than a whole group of people, even though there's black doctors, there's black scientists, that you're obviously not better than because you're a poor white trash addicted to meth in a trailer.
or you're
But
yelling at somebody over mayonnaise and a Hardee's.
that's
You know,
true. But that was a white on white crime. And I'm never going to
it's
forgive white people
still
for
the
that.
hate.
You know
Yeah.
what? I don't know if I like white people. She,
I don't think I like him either, Austin. I'll be honest.
yeah,
There's a reason
that,
I'm in China. I can
that
handle Chinese
confused
people.
me because I know a lot of people don't like mayonnaise, but I thought white people did. If it was a black
This
lady
is
screaming about mayonnaise, I'd understand.
Chase. Do you think you will ever date a white woman again?
Ranch with that accent, like we talked about earlier. Absolutely.
French. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
an American white woman?
I just don't see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah. See this? See this? You see this, Austin? Racist to his core. He's a self-hating white man.
Yeah, Chase, what are you even? You're brown, dude. Get out of here. You're not even
Yeah, that's
white.
true.
Totally.
I gotta be whatever I gotta be for the day, man. I love changing races. It's
You know what he
fantastic.
is, man?
I'm
He's
a
Yeah,
team
Mexican.
jumper, front
That's what
runner.
he is. A border hopper. That's what you are.
he looks Italian
Thank
to
you.
me, but
Italian,
Sleazy.
Greek, Argentinian, whatever, man. It doesn't matter. Play that role for the
Mhm.
day. Yeah,
So we ended there, guys.
yeah.
sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for listening to the Divine Brothers podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.